This is TWiT.
And now this last story in this block, this is kind of interesting and a little, I don't know, a little freaky.
Yeah, interesting, for sure. Yeah.
Two separate cases of data leaking from Google's Pixel repair program that seemed to get a good amount of attention this last week. One person sent in a Pixel 5a for repair and then discovered that someone had gained access to her Google account and her Dropbox. I think she's actually a New York Times author. So she has a I guess a pedigree, is known online. So take from that what you will. But the damage to the phone actually prevented her from securely wiping the data off the device before sending it. So it was like her phone was so damaged that she couldn't get in and make any changes. Sent the device in. And at some point, once it was at the repair facility, or maybe it was intercepted somewhere before that, not really quite sure, a bunch of photos, including sensitive photos, were accessed. Adding insult to injury, Google said they never received the device and charged her for the replacement device. So that's kind of lame. But it's the second case that's also really troublesome. Involved a broken device that was sent into Google with an RMA. Again, the phone could not be powered on in this case, right? So the phone couldn't be wiped. Apparently, there was no password or PIN set on the device prior to it breaking. So that's a problem, right? There was no real security on the device. A few weeks later, photos, including nudes of the owner, were posted on her social media accounts. So suddenly her social media accounts show this intensely sensitive, photos of her. Her PayPal account was accessed. The hijacker attempted to lock the customer out of their Google account. When she used Find My Device, it tracked it to Texas, which is to the same building that the device was sent for repair by Google. So both of these actually were sent to Texas. So it kind of points to, at least it could be totally random, could be total, random circumstance, but these two stories happening relatively close together indicate that there's at least some lapse in security or privacy invasion with some of the devices that are sent in for repair via Google, and that's troubling.
Super troubling. I mean, it's the kind of thing where this is like the inherent trust with not just Google, with any manufacturer and that sort of thing, where, especially when you have a problem with it, you give the device to another place.
Yeah.
And and I don't know about you, Jason, but I've heard stories for years about reasons why not to use Best Buy Geek Squad to fix your computer or whatnot, because reports of people bringing their computer and the Geek Squad people just combing through hard drives and copying stuff off, and
right.
because it's just like these nerds with a little bit of tech knowledge who aren't as trustworthy or as nice as they should be, right? And there's so much sensitivity that we have on our devices, and it's like you trust whoever you're sending it to not do stuff like this. And this is just like oddly malicious, right? Like to access that information and then invade her social accounts and all this sort of stuff is crazy. It goes beyond just like someone sees an opportunity to like take some images or whatever and takes it, which is bad in and of itself. It goes to the next step to saying, oh well, I've got these, check this out, poof, putting it on your social media is super, right. It's that next level. But either way, it's definitely a cautionary tale around like kind of like what you were saying. These devices, we hold so much of ourselves on them, regardless of like the photos that we have on there, like the information that we have on there, the things we write, like everything. And if you get keys to that kingdom, it opens up the keys for so many other things, whether you realize it or not. Your single Google account is interconnected with so many other things. The entire kingdom starts to crumble. So it's really a cautionary tale around like how we protect ourselves, how we protect that information. Like, in the case of this second story, was it the second story that didn't have the password or the PIN set on the device?
right?
Yep.
These are things that we might not think about it, or we might think that's a nuisance, and I'm at home 90% of the time. Why do I really need to do that? No, I've never lost my phone, so it's not going to matter. But then once it happens and you find yourself in a situation where everything you have and know is on this device, but you can't get in because it's broken, what are you going to do? I mean, the safest thing that you could do is take out a sledgehammer and beat it up into a million pieces. That's the only way that you can truly ensure that no one gets access to that, because when you send it off to a repair facility, you don't know who has access to that from there. You want to believe that you can trust Google or whoever their third-party contractor is to take care of that and to do the right thing. But as this points out, sometimes the wrong thing happens. You just don't know.
Yeah. Oh man,
it's
the world is not. The world disappoints you sometimes. I mean, and in the case of like the first one, like where Google claims they didn't receive it, if someone is like, there's also a security level in terms of like, I'm sending it to Google, it better get to them, and you can't account for a shipment or device every step of the way. Packages get stolen, things like that.
Totally.
It just really makes you. I mean, honestly, this is why. I mean, I know it's an expensive thing to do this with, but like if a phone breaks for me, I don't try to get it fixed. I just move on to a new one. It's almost got to be disposable hardware in this particular case. Now I end up with a cardboard box full of phones, dead phones in my basement. As you can imagine, Jason, you probably have the same. The ghosts of phones past. Right?
Yeah, right.
but exactly. I mean, I sure as hell ain't even given anybody any of my devices to do anything with. You know what I mean? Like it's either I can fix it myself or I'm going to move on, which does get to be expensive, but it sucks if you spend a lot of money and had something break in the first month of owning it or something like that. But still,
yeah.
I hate RMAs. RMAs are the worst. If you worked in any technology and all that stuff,
Totally agree.